Hello, everybody. Welcome to the lunch hour with Dingo and the baby.
Woo!
Hey, baby. Today we're talking about some future generations and the old generations.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
Because this is the New Gen versus Old Gen podcast.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
You forgot the name? I can't believe you.
I did forget it. My
So
bad.
we're gonna go into idolizations, and we're gonna start there with the older generation, like grandparents and grandparents. Because I feel like they're similar. They obviously are different, but I feel like they're kind of similar.
Okay, you want me to talk about what the ideals of the old generation might be,
Yeah, I think you can pinpoint that pretty well,
as I am an old person. Um,
obviously.
I would like to, I think that, if we're looking back at like our probably like you want to start like our great grandparents or our grandparents?
You can start with let's let's keep it simple and just go our grandparents.
Okay. So I think our grandparents were kind of their ideals were always family first, very family oriented. I mean, I think that you could see that kind of for a good example of mine is board games. When you think of board games, to me at least, I think that's family first. If you want to spend time with your family doing things that everyone considers fun. So I think family first was really big. I also think hard work was a really big part of the old generation's ideals. I mean, you saw back then industrialization was still super like a kind of a main job you'd see for most people was going
Yeah.
to work in industry some way.
Yeah.
They also like to get outside a lot, kind of work hard there. And overall, that was kind of the generation, in my opinion, of you don't really rest. You just keep going and pushing through, and you don't ever complain about what's going on. You just push through it no matter what.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Yeah, because you had the industrial age, which it meant like you have to go to work, you have to do this just to support your family. Like you couldn't even really save up for dreams unless you were like a manager. And even then, like most manager, like safety, well, I don't know. That's a whole other topic of workplace environment. Um,
Yeah, but I
but
mean, I think that builds into it. So, what were you going to say about the workplace environment?
um, well, you have like the pay was low and the work there was dangerous, so you almost had to almost risk your life for a stable paycheck. And if you got hurt on the job, that has to come out of your paycheck and your savings, which is why probably a lot of people like didn't go to the hospital because they couldn't afford it. So they were literally on they're the literal definition of pay or living from paycheck to paycheck.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's probably why maybe some injuries went unnoticed or unreported because, yeah, you can't afford to miss time of work because they might replace you right then and there. And
Yeah.
and your family needs the money.
Because you who can't perform your job, you just get fired,
Yeah.
which I know was a problem during the Great Depression because a lot of people like ended up getting hurt there, and then all of a sudden the Great Depression hit, and I just know that a lot of people ended up losing their jobs just because other people needed jobs, and and basically society still needed to run. So if you couldn't perform your job during that time, you absolutely got fired instantly, or at
Oh,
least
yeah, absolutely.
relieved.
At the very, if you were lucky, you probably got a 2 week, like release, maybe with minimal pay. Like, maybe partial even. Not, I don't think it was fully. I mean, back
Yeah,
then working conditions were really tough.
and even then, that's with like a nice boss too. Like most people back then, because they're also going through the depression, are probably just gonna fire you because they need their company to do well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. hmm Grueling industry back then.
Yeah, so I think the ideology of that would be work very hard for what you have, and um, I almost feel like their ideology kind of changed as they grew up though, because work wasn't as hard. Retirement's now a thing for most of them, and um, I think it's just like because money is like because I don't know how much money you get from your grandparents, but they'll give 20 out like
Like
it's
it's nothing.
nothing. Yeah,
Like
like
it's
it's
a piece of
nothing,
candy.
right? And back then that would be like such a blessing or
Uh,
something to get receive $20 from your grandparents.
and I mean, even if you want to say like counting $20 now is as much as it cost back, or as much as value had back then, still that was super. That would be a crazy thing to receive $20 for minimal work. You know, like today, if you go outside and rake the leaves, for example, you might get $10.
Yeah.
Back then, that was like customary. Like, okay, now you did that. Now you can use the bathroom. You know, you did your job. Now you're allowed to use the toilet.
Mm-hmm. Um, no, I don't think I was going to talk about segregation, but I don't think that really plays into it because I think that
I
was
mean,
just like,
I think that's a little farther back.
yeah, probably
I
than what
mean,
we're thinking.
at least legally segregation. I guess maybe there. I mean, maybe you could say discrimination, maybe, but
Yeah. Um, all right. So I think we figured out the ideology of uh
our
grand
grandparents.
grandparents and great grandparents kind of because I feel like uh our great grandparents really hammered in their ideology into our grandparents, and so it's pretty similar, but there still
Hmm.
are the key differences.
And I know it. I even hear about my grandparents' ideology from my parents today, and it's quite annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when you're like, well, if you're lucky, you don't have to go outside and work, like I had to, or and all that stuff, and it's not cool. Well,
Um,
would you like to transition into our parents' idealism?
yep, we're gonna go into adults, more or less our parents or just like 30 to 40
People
year
of that
olds.
time period. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
Would you like to kick us off?
yeah. So how did they grow up versus, well, how did they grow up and what, I guess, is their ideology of what life is? Because I think from our grandparents, they were given not necessarily an easy life, but they were rewarded well for good behavior, but bad behavior was punished severely.
Okay.
Like, because I feel like that's the generation that like you hear about teachers beating them with rulers or them getting like really good stuff for being good children. But I mean like really good stuff for that time period. Like um I don't know, maybe like a new car is like
Yeah,
something
I get
our
what you're saying,
generation would
though.
be, but yeah.
Yeah, overall, they're
Um
kind of rewarded more.
yeah, for like basically discipline and like they were disciplined pretty straight on, and I think that's their ideology. Like do good work, get good rewards. Do bad work, get punished for it.
Kind of get what you give.
Yeah, you get what you give. I think that's a perfect way to put it.
I would agree with that. I think that's kind of you can see in parenting today. You know, kind of
Yeah.
if you do something, if you give a lot of effort, you get rewarded, like maybe with money, for example. But
Hmm.
I can agree with that. Or if you don't do a good job, but you didn't put in any effort, then you get scolded and say, hey, if you would have put in more effort, you would have done better. And I have no pity for you because of the effort you put in.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think, you know, it kind of became a little less strict, parents did, like in terms of trying to be tough, and kind of, I would say, a gradual shift to being more compassionate also occurred, you know, just because I feel like America as a whole was starting to kind of flourish a little bit more. So obviously when things are going good, it's a lot easier to be happy.
Yeah,
um
I agree with that.
so I think, yeah, that's kind of what happened overall. I don't know, around the time our parents were growing up, that'd be like the 1980s. Um, so that was around Ronald Reagan's time. I mean, war was starting to, from about the 1980s, late mid 1980s to the two that before 9/11, there was really no wars up to that point. So I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that could be a contributing time of their development, was no wars really.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't really have to worry about being sent to the draft or anything because so they could just focus on like home life, starting family, work life. Like they could just live a life without war. So they didn't really have to worry about that because there was no wars at the time.
Yes, television also became a big thing, so that's where you start to see electronics start to come into play. Some game systems might have also started development, so
Yeah.
maybe that shaped them a little bit. Because I know television's a big part of our generation, and kind of especially video games, but
Yeah.
maybe that also take a shape a little bit there.
Hmm.
Kind of a more playful attitude with cartoons, which are funny and stuff of that nature.
Yeah. Like I know probably just media as a general through books, radio, TV, probably like set forth a huge number of careers that people could go into because uh they didn't have to worry about like war or anything like that. Like they could just focus on their dreams at that point.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that, definitely. Trying to think of anything else that I have to add for our parents' generation, but I feel like we covered it pretty well. Do you have anything else to add to it?
Um no, I think we got the ideology of our parents pretty well.
Now it's just left our ideology and then the future.
Yeah. So tell me, what do you think our ideology is of how life is?
I think our ideals is simply that we sometimes work smarter, not harder. That being with like a yard work or just doing like we don't have to go outside and work super hard if there's an easier solution. I just feel like we're kind of lazy, but to the old generation we're lazy, but to our generation we're kind of smarter than them. I think video games starting to take a big rise, and so that's definitely part of our idealism is just kind of relax and enjoy yourself, which I think it leads to the division with the old generation because to them there was never that time to relax. As if you did, you could lose your job and your living and your livelihood. Where to us, we kind of want to appreciate I wouldn't say the smaller things, just appreciate, what we're doing in the time a little bit more
Yeah.
in terms of video games. Definitely technology has definitely been a big part of this, which might contribute to a little bit of laziness. Like if you, for example, look at going and buying, like if you order stuff to your house instead of going to pick it up in the grocery stores, for example, or even instead of driving to go get a pizza, it gets delivered to you. Deliveries became a big thing now. So, I mean, maybe that's something just kind of we like to, I don't know, maybe just, yeah, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, but
I don't know. It's kind of tough to narrow it down a little bit.
I think our generation, like I think a lot of our generation is a blend of our own thing, and then a majority is either grandparents or parents, like just how we're raised or stuff. Just how hard parents or grandparents hammer in their ideologies um into us, or do they just let us get our own?
That's true. Yeah. Do they really let us kind of be our own and it kind of
Hmm.
depends if, like, for example, you grow up with your grandparents, you'll probably be more hardworking and more of their mentality, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I think we hammered that. So, future generation, you ready for it?
I'm ready for your opinion on it.
Okay. We're talking about the future generation, our kids, and how they are going to just associate themselves to the world and what their ideology is.
Yeah.
Currently, what events do you think that are currently going to happen or will happen soon that are going to shape them as they grow up?
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think? Like, what events right now are going to shape them on how they grow up, which may turn out to make their ideology a bit.
That's tough. I don't know if there's anything major going on right now. I mean, just the more further development of technology, I think maybe electric cars is really the one big thing I think going on right now with Tesla and other brands trying to have to adjust. I don't know. I don't really think it's going to be a major change. I mean, like one major thing. I just think a further expansion towards technology driven things, even more than today, kind of way more futuristic. Because I do think there could be drastic developments in 20, 30 years. I think we'll go back to the moon, for example. I don't
Um,
know if that would shape, or even Mars. I don't know if that would shape like curiosity, but
since you
I don't
mentioned
know.
that, SpaceX is actually taking 4 NASA astronauts to the moon soon,
That's cool. Since we haven't had a moon landing in our whole lifetime, so
right? It'll be kind of cool.
yes, way cool. Kind of crazy to think about too.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Um, I honestly think that we're gonna let our kids do whatever they want and just fund their own ideology of what they think it is.
Yeah.
And if they get out of hand, I don't know if some people are gonna have the necessary ability to discipline their children, or if they're just gonna let them walk all over them. Like, I know that you kind of think they're all gonna be like uh brats and like just not good people overall.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Definitely.
yeah, like I think that's a pretty valid point. Like discipline is like it's essential. Like it is what keeps everything like in order. Like it's what, how do I put this? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Or
Yeah, like jail, for example, kind of is a form of punishment. And it what deters people and makes them reason with themselves late at night. Like if you're drunk, for example, is it worth the risk? And overall punishment is essential because without it, people would be way more reckless, and more reckless things would happen overall, leading to more damage inflicted in a variety of ways. And also punishment shapes the way that kids develop, you know.
hmm. So if like
What your parents build into you will really shape how you react. And I think if our generation doesn't build any character into the future, then they're not going to have any morals or anything to be like, wow, that's not okay.
yeah, I don't know if people or if our generation is going to be able to discipline their kids, honestly. So I feel like you're going to have the people who will, and they're going to be the super good kids that'll lead the future, and then you're also going to have the non-nice people that are going to grow up with the parents that just let them do exactly whatever they want.
And that's scary if you have a bunch of people, like, especially if you want, like, I imagine someone in like a Tesla, super fast Tesla, going 110 down the side of the road, sunglasses on, just being dirt bags and just being bad people.
Yeah,
Not good. Not good. You need to have, a little bit of um, control on yourself, and I don't think they'll have any control.
yeah. But then again, it also raises the question, what's life going to be like growing up for them? Because is pollution going to go down or is it going to go up? Is global warming going to turn our oceans to acid, or it's just the world is at a breaking point right now and we are either going to destroy it or we're going to build it up. So is there either going to be a future generation to live here, or are they
Yeah,
going to have to go live in space or something?
wouldn't that be fun? Living in a space station, kind of be like VR.
Oh, I'm wrong, by the way. It wasn't a mission to the moon. It was a mission to the International Space Station.
Oh my gosh.
I think I read SpaceX somewhere else, something about the
Oh,
moon. It was a mission to the International Space Station, I think.
that is just terrible. I mean, it's the International Space Station. I mean, that
I
happens like
think.
often.
I know.
Wow. Well, Dingo is acting like a real dingo right now.
Oh, 1 second. It literally just popped up because I wanted to see it. Um, let's see. Let's see what this says because it says the thing that I was looking at. Just because I wanted to proof check myself really quick. Yeah, it was to the International Space Station.
Oh, yes.
So
He was wrong. Unreal. Next time before you say something, make sure you're right.
I know.
Don't
My
ruin
bad.
everyone's excitement.
I know. I mean, I'm sure that one day we're gonna go back to the moon.
God willing. Hopefully. Hopefully. But I don't know. Hopefully before I'm dead.
Right?
Yeah.
Just don't die
Well,
anytime soon.
you think we've done a good discussion? Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's pretty good, honestly. I think we covered what we were trying to, the ideology of each generation and how the future generation is going to be. Oh, there is one thing that we didn't quite cover. Do you think that the ideology of the future generation is going to clash with the other generation's ideologies?
Absolutely. There'll be dirtbags who have no restraint.
Okay, that's one way to think about it.
Absolutely. I don't like people, and I hate people right now. So can you imagine them in 20 years? Terrible. Not good. I don't know. Babies are going to be out of control.
Right? We're gonna have a
They're
whole
going to be
new
more
baby
reckless
boomer
than adults.
stage.
Oh yeah, terrible.
I know, and it's not even gonna be caused by war. Anyways,
Not good.
I think that's a good place to end it. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Peace out.